Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and my arch nemesis Theo Hearthstone put together a video just the other day going over what he thinks the best card is from each class in Hearthstone history. I watched it. I disagreed with almost all of it. He's spreading misinformation, horrible takes. That is reserved for me, and that's what we're gonna do in this video. Give my takes on what the best cards are, and make sure, don't go over to Theo's channel, don't subscribe to him, don't hit that like button, don't help him out. He likes to play priest sometimes, and I swear, I never do. So yeah, we're gonna go over my takes, and always enjoy the content channel. Feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. My sub button, not that guy's. What are you doing? Give the video a like, it helps us a lot. We're on the road to 90,000 subscribers. So Theo gave his 5 best for each class, and then said what his favorite was for each. We're gonna look at those as we go along and then say why my picks are better. So for Death Knight, he went with Vampiric Blood, which is not even on my list. It's like, you know, it's in standard right now. It's not good enough, so what are you doing? Threads, which used to be 1 mana. I probably agree with that. He's got Lord Marogar, the Primus, and Reska. Not gonna lie, this is the best part of his list. I agree with 4 of the 5, with Vampiric Blood being the one card I don't agree with, as I went for, actually I have a couple cards, sorry. I thought I agreed with more. I disagree. I have Battlefield Necromancer, was a 2/3 that spawned a 1/3 that was good at both standard and wild. Is staple on unholy decks, and if it got unnerfed, it would just be slot right in to even Death Knight and wild. Construct Quarter went from 4 mana, or 3 mana to 4 mana, and lost a usage, and was just insane during its time. So those are the 2 I kind of disagree there, but yeah, Marogar, the Primus, and I will agree with him. He picked Reska to be the best Death Knight card of all time so far, and yeah, I kind of gotta agree. And at 25, it still feels silly. The only thing is, you can't really go even with it in Wild. For Demon Hunter, I feel like he's all off the place. No idea what he's talking about here. His best card, he says, Skull of Gul'dan. I actually don't even have it on my list, because I just feel like that's the way the game has gone. He has Jace, Il'gynoth, Unleash Fel, and the Final Showdown. I believe I have 3 of the same, because there's just a couple of cards I just disagree with. I feel like if they unnerf Skull of Gul'dan right now, I don't think it's fast enough to play in Wild and draw those cards in Demon Hunter. Maybe it's the standard play, but I'm not convinced of that. Yes, the Final Showdown. This card just giving you insane mana cheat, allowing you to just do whatever you want, really. Right now, in Wild, it's all about fatigue and winning with your turns, but there's been other combinations. It's just an absolutely absurd card, and it's my pick for the best Demon Hunter card of all time. But there are other really strong cards. Unleash Fel, which used to have the Mana Thirst 4, so you get that lifesteal at 4 mana. So basically, it always had lifesteal when you wanted to use it. Lady Asino, not on his list, and I think, could you imagine if this got unnerfed right now? To attack, and you have the Final Showdown to make like everything 0, you could do some really crazy OTKs very early on with all your 0 mana spells. This card would be incredibly scary if they ever unnerf it, so hopefully they don't. But it was an absolute menace. It's not playing standard and wild, and the same goes for Blind Eye Sharpshooter. Believe it or not, at 3 mana, it wasn't just the stats. The card itself was outright busted, seeing both standard and wild play at high legend, and just being able to do crazy OTKs. It was, again, ridiculous at 3 and at 4. I'm surprised it hasn't popped back up yet, but it could at some point. And yes, I agree, Il'gynoth, really insane card. Still sees play in Wild 2 with the OTK abilities. It's not the preferred or the preferred OTK, but definitely a card to consider. But yeah, for me, Skull of Gul'dan and Eyebeam are kind of like my honorable mentions and don't quite make it. I just don't think they make the cut in today's game. Theo, for Hunter, has this list here of Defend the Dwarven District, the Stormwind quest tracking, which used to actually draw a card from your deck. It would destroy the other 2. Now it's just discover a card. Tundra Rhino, Hydrolodon, and Katrina. I think I only have 1 of these cards on my list, and he said tracking was the best Hunter card of them all. For me, I disagree with a lot of that. So Defend the Dwarven District, I have on my list. Insane card. Turn Hunter into Raza Anduin pretty easily. and they nerfed cards around it. They nerfed the card itself. Super strong. Starving Buzzard went from 2 to 5 mana, has since been reverted and sees play in the format. A huge draw engine in Wild right now, but back in the old days was insane. Still good now. So if it's good now, you can imagine how broken it would have been at launch. And yeah, definitely on my list. Mystery Egg, which has already been changed multiple times, enabling like an infinite rush combo in Wild, being super strong in Standard. I just have to put this on my list. It might be recency bias, but you know, the game power level is crazier than it's ever been. And if it's really good now, it probably should be on the list. Shock Spitter, how do you not have that on your list, Theo? This got nerfed in like 2 days. Went from 2 mana to 3 mana, and then 3 mana to 4, where you just play a couple cheap weapons, and you play those like brand and copy effects, and your opponent's dead really quickly. Turns 5, 6, 7, like, it was nuts. And at 3, it was still good. Yeah, at 2 was insane. And Agrimar, card, one of the only cards here, actually the only card on this list not to be nerfed, is just insanely good in Standard and Wild. It's a card you like to play. It pushes damage, can draw cards, give you taunts. My pick for the best card, Shock Spitter at 2. Absolutely nuts. And honorable mention just to like the Wild Seed, Wild Spirit cards. They were really good too, but yeah, I'm gonna disagree heavily with Theo for Hunter. For Druid, completely missed the plot again here, Theo. We have Aquatic Form, good card, 0 mana. Dredge right now, this can actually crash your game, which use 1 in Titan cards. It's not just the mulligan, Aquatic Form could do it. Innervate used to give you 2 mana crystals. That's just broken, insane. What the hell? Guff used to give you just a full mana crystal, and then they nerfed it to empty. Still one of the best cards ever, period. And in Wild right now, still nuts. Spreading Plague used to be 5. I don't even know if it would see play at 5 anymore. I don't think so. And Anupercon was insane, where you would gain armor. I think it was more armor than this. I think it was 8 armor or 7 armor. Can't remember off the top of my head, but it was just your minions cost armor instead of health. There was no cap. And you, in both Standard and Wild, you just nuked your opponent, just did absurd things. And this went through multiple reworks and was an absolutely nutty card. So where do I disagree? Well, I agree with Innervate, arguably the best. I'll probably not say it's the best for Druid. Twig, this didn't used to refresh. You would just gain 10 mana. So the second they made like Sphere of Sapience, you just had a 5 mana combo to go to 10. And you could play that early and you just win. You win. It was so broken. But I guess it wouldn't be broken without another weapon to come along. But you know that was going to happen at some point. But was never like outright broken in Standard, although saw play until it rotated. So it's on my list. Guff, yeah, insane card. Probably the most, or the best Druid card of all time, especially unnerfed. I'll go into Nupercon. It was stupid in Standard and Wild. It was just an absolutely absurd card. And he didn't have Celestial Alignment. This got nerfed from 7 to 8 and used to be double-sided, where, yeah, your cards cost 1, and basically you play this, if you survived, you won. Or you had Anacontra on the board and played it, you won. And it was just disgusting. And you would also eliminate your opponent from being able to play the game normally. All their cards would cost 1, 2. Not only super powerful in Standard and Wild, but really frustrating. I'll give my vote to Guff, but you could really give it to Innervate. And there's Druid has so many honorable mentions, like Aviana in particular. She's still insane right now. And you could absolutely have her on your list. But I just feel like when you play Aviana as much with these cards unnerfed, I don't know. It's a tough one. But yeah, Aviana is one of the ones that really stands out that you could put on here. Next, we have Mage for Theo, which I think he got pretty good here. He's got Open the Waygate, you know, used to be able to take infinite turns. Now he can only take once per game, and it used to be, I think, 5 spells instead of 8 spells you had to cast. Apprentice had no mana cap. It was infinite mana. We all know the deal. Absolutely busted, ridiculous card. Ice Block has never been nerfed. It's been like almost every Mage deck ever. It's insane. Alaneth, what year are we in, Theo? Alaneth, really? I do see the odd secret mage with Kill Jaden these days, but that's more just for the meme, not so much how good it is. And Pocket Galaxy at 5 mana. Yeah, it kind of broke the game, and I feel like at 5, I don't know how good it would be today, but it would probably be good enough. So I do agree on a good chunk of the mage cards, but not all of them. So I don't have Alaneth. I'm not that much of a boomer, but I have Open the Waygate. I have Apprentice. I have Ice Block. I have Galaxy. But I honestly think Incanter's Flow might be the best card they ever had. This used to be 2 mana. 2 mana, reduce the cost of spells in your deck by 1. It got nerfed to 3, then 4. Could you imagine? Could you imagine this in Wild right now? It would be utterly disgusting. Like, coin 2 mana Emperor Thorson on your deck. I will give the shout out to Ice Block because it's just like enabled everything in Mage forever in Wild and Standard when it was around. It's like the bane of everyone's existence. It hasn't been nerfed. All these other cards have. So Blizzard, maybe get on that. I always think it should say twice per game at this point. You could play it twice because you can run 2 copies, but I feel like that should be the end of it. You got honorable mentions too, like Solid Alibi at 2 mana was disgusting. Refreshing Spring Water at 4 was disgusting. Mage has had way too many gross cards. Probably why I like playing Mage. I like to play degen crap that in Druid, right? Paladin. How did Theo do on Paladin? Well, I actually found it hard to find like really broken Paladin cards. He's got Christology, good card. Draw 2 1-attack minions from your deck. Sees play to this day. Oh my Yogg, I want to uninstall when I face this card or complete the achievement, which I did do, unlike Rarin. Again, another streamer who can't hold a candle. Okay, he's got like infinite more subs and views, but still, I got the Oh my Yogg achievement. Call to Arms got nerfed at 1 point to 5 mana. Insane card where you recruit 3 minions that cost 2 or less. Sunkeeper Tareem. What year? Again, Aloneth, Tareem? When's the last time you saw this card realistically see play in Wild? I don't even think it would see play in Standard. Is it in Standard right now? I don't even know. Regardless, yeah, it's on his list. And Cariel used to be 7 mana, giving you that weapon that like halves the damage you take. Indestructible, plus a really good hand buff hero power. Really, really sick card. So where do I disagree with Theo? Well, I didn't put Oh my Yogg, I put Sword of the Fallen. This used to have 3 durability, which would let you get those Oh my Yogg so much better and still sees play to this day, even with 2 durability. Order in the Court, well, it recently got nerfed by getting buffed, and Holy Wrath Paladin still top tier and was just good in Reno decks. It's just a great card all around. One of the best cards Paladin's ever seen and still sees to play to this day. Showdown at 2. I can't, like, Trump rated this one of the worst cards in the expansion back in the day. Got nerfed to 3, but even in Wild, with Prismatic Beam in particular, the synergies with that were just insane. Both of them got nerfed, but honestly, I think Showdown, the fact that it saw a ton of play in like even Paladin, reinvigorated that whole archetype, to me just shows the strength of how good that card was. Call to Arms, I agreed with. And Cariel will be my vote. I think Cariel's the best card. Think about this at 7. It still sees plenty of play in Wild today. At 7, it would be even better. Really, really darn good hero card. For Priest, oh no. Theo plays a lot of Priest, so he's going to be the expert, but he gets it wrong here. So we have Void Touched Attendant, which is an insane aggro card. It's one of the best cards in Wild at the moment. So yeah, can't disagree. Radiant Elemental just got nerfed like Apprentice. Again, enabled a million combo decks. Can't disagree. Alucia, pretty darn solid. Basically, skip your opponent's turn. That's pretty good. Zarella, I know Theo likes this card, but come on. Zarella, never been nerfed, doesn't see play today. It's a good card, but one of the best? I don't think so. And Amanthul even sees play in aggro decks in Wild. That's how good this Titan is. And yeah, it's hard to disagree with those picks. And yeah, I got Void Touched Attendant on my list. One of the best aggro cards ever. It's like Raiding Bleeder, but 1 mana. Affects hero powers and spells. It is double-sided, but we all know that comes down on 1. You're basically losing right now. Radiant Elemental just got nuked, but it was a crazy combo enabler, got cards banned, all that crazy stuff. Mindrender Alucia, yeah, was 2 mana and didn't give you a copy of your opponent's hand and deck. You just got it so you could just dump their cards, basically get that extra turn. Extremely toxic card, one of my most loathed, but my goodness, it was very good. But Raza not making Theo's list to me, a little bit sus, because Reno Priest, amazing. This card's great with like Dark Bishop Benedictus, or your Anduin, or the new Reno hero card. And yeah, it still sees play to this day. It's enabled Highlander Priest decks to be top tier for almost the entire time it wasn't nerfed, right? It was nerfed for a while. Your hero power would cost 1. And yeah, absolutely nutty card. And of course, Amanthul, just an amazing Titan, poofing minions from the board, getting lifesteal taunts. It's a giant minion itself. And as Priest, you can play it over and over and over. My pick, I'm going to go with Lucia unnerfed. I think would just be unbelievably broken right now. Could you imagine current Shadow Priest having unnerfed Lucia where they're already putting you down to like 10 health on turns 3 and 4? You just drop Lucia. They have no cards until, you know, it's over. It's always over. And yeah, I think it too should be the best card with, yeah, mentions to like Radiant Elemental. Honorable mention to like Hysteria was nuts, or Switcheroo, which got nerfed significantly and banned, are definitely cards you could consider too. Shaman, he got this one way wrong. I'm just gonna say right away, Corrupt the Waters. I see it every once in a while these days with some greedy players, but it was a good card, doubling your battle cries, but I think the Overload quest is still probably better. Evolve, good card. I think he just has PTSD to Desert Hair Evolve meta we saw a long time ago. That it was a good card, don't get me wrong, but I don't see it at the level of a lot of other cards. Devolve, again, pretty good. This would probably, okay, this would see play in standard. This one I should have on my list, but we'll see when we take a look, because I don't think I have any of these three. Golganath, an Incredible Titan, sees play in standard and wild. Can't really argue with that. And of course, Shudderwalk. Shudderwalk, repeating your battle cries, absurdly busted. And yeah, let's take a look at my list, which of course is correct. Brilliant Macaw, repeating your battle cries. Just like, why are you not playing this card in most decks that play anything remotely slow? Getting another Shudderwalk, getting another Loatheb, getting another great battle cry. For me, it has to be on my list. Spirit of the Frog at 3 mana, basically drew your whole deck and you could OTK your opponent. Really insane. Yeah, I agree with Golganath, really a great card. But Snowfall not only used to be 5 mana, but it would freeze and buff itself. It would be a threat that you could just spam over and over and your opponent would die to this giant minion that would freeze your board. Absurd card that I think should be on the list. And of course, Shudderwalk, because he's an absolutely card. And yes, I think he's the best Shaman card of all time. Rogue has got a lot to pick from, and somehow Theo picked some bad cards. So first we have Prep, of course, it's insane. Shadow Step, and by the way, Prep used to discount by 3, not 2. Shadow Step, do I need to say any more? Cavern Shiny Finder, we have the Instrument Tech, a neutral, that does the same thing. Is it really at that level for Rogue? Come on, Theo. Secret Passage, yeah, pretty nuts card. And Wild Paw Null. Do you know that Secret Passage used to start at, was at 1 mana and did 5? Like, what the heck? And Wild Paw Null got nerfed like 4 times and reworked. So yeah, pretty warranted to be on the list. Might shock you about my list. I don't have Shadow Step on there because I just think there's been better cards, starting with Prep because it used to do 3. Absolutely nuts. Secret Passage again, 1 mana, draw 5 at one point, but Sinstone Graveyard was obscene in both standard and wild. It was 2 mana and the ghost had stealth. And you know, with all the card spam going on, it would just be absolutely insane in today's game. Even in wild, Edwin was 3 mana, basically draw your deck, get a gigantic minion. What were they thinking with that one? To me, that was insane. And yes, Wild Paw Null getting nerfed like 3 times. And it's crazy. Caverns below, you would think, for sure, make the list. It's unnerfed in wild right now. It's not good enough. And these cards, I think, would be. We already know Prep is, but yeah, I'll go Secret Passage, 1 mana, draw 5. That's just what were they on when they made that card? Warrior, Theo's got Risky Skipper, Town Crier, Warsong Commander, Dr. Boom, Mad Genius, Boomer alert here, and Shield Shatter, with his vote going to Warsong Commander, which went through multiple reworks. And by the way, is this way right now. Seems like no play in wild. Just want to point that out. For my warrior picks, I gotta go Risky Skipper. I also went Warsaw because you gotta give it some credit. But Aftershocks, I feel like it's forgotten about already. This was obscene, right? At 4 mana, you got 2 mana less on this. It was like dirt cheap little AoE. I don't know. I just thought it was really solid. Bran at 6 saw play in both standard and wild. Reno card doubling your battle cries. I don't know. That was pretty darn crazy. And Shield Shatter, I agree. 0 mana, deal 5. Pretty darn strong. My pick though, Risky Skipper. I'm going Risky Skipper. I think it's the best warrior card ever. Still insanely good at drawing you cards, gaining armor, doing that damage to your minions. One of my favorite warrior cards ever. It feels so good to play, and it's still good to this day. And then lastly, we have Warlock, where we have a very contentious card at the moment, the Demon Seed. Nerfed twice, it has had 1 billion cards around it. Reworked, it's pretty darn crazy. Defile has never been touched, good AoE. Dark Lair's been to 2 and then back to 3, used to give you 2 crystals. Obscene card. Rune Mithril Rod used to be 3 mana to discount a bunch of cards. Now it's 5, and Gul'dan, a pretty darn cool Death Knight, but that is Theo's boomer pick for his list. My list, much better, where we have Kobold Librarian. How many Warlock decks don't run Kobold Librarian ever? It's just so good. 1 mana, 2/1, draw a card, deal self-damage, which is almost always just a good thing. It's pretty darn crazy. The Demon Seed, of course, broken. But what about Chamber of Viscidus? This used to be 2 mana and had 3 uses. It was 2 mana, draw 9. 9! It was insane. Like, they made this for Twist, but it broke Wild even harder. Ridiculous card. Dark Lair, of course, still really good now. And it used to give you 2 crystals. Like, what the hell? Rune Mithril Rod at 3. And we don't even have, like, Raise Dead. Raise Dead's one of the best cards ever. It's not on the list. It's just Warlock has had so many busted cards. Stealer of Souls. You could go on and on. But yeah, the Demon Seed is the most game-breaking card that I think that Hearthstone may have ever seen. It might be the best card ever. So there you go. My picks for the best card from each class. Way better than Theo's, but let me know how bad my picks are compared to yours. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Don't check out Theo's channel. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.